The forests of Newfoundland and Labrador form the most eastern part of the boreal forest region of North America. The trees are relatively small, primarily made up of coniferous trees intermixed with hardwoods. The total forest sector employs nearly 5% of the provincial labor force, comprising primary activities such as harvesting and resource management, and secondary activities where timber is processed into newsprint and lumber. The pulp and paper industry accounts for approximately 75% of the economic activity in the province's forestry sector. Sawmilling, commercial fuel wood, and converted wood products, along with hunting, fishing, and other recreational activities, occupy a secondary yet essential role. The 90s posed numerous challenges for the forest resource managers of Newfoundland and Labrador. In 1990, to further strengthen the strategic management of our forests, the federal and provincial government entered into a 5-year, 70-30 cost-shared Canada-Newfoundland cooperation agreement for forestry development, with funding in excess of $60 million. The Canadian Forest Service is responsible for managing the agreement from the federal perspective. The Newfoundland Forest Service implements the provincial component. A number of key issues have been identified as having high priority, focusing specifically on the environment and continuity of the wood supply. Only 11% of the forest resource base is between 40 and 60 years old. Growth in the 40-year age class will not provide harvestable timber for at least 20 years. This shortage of intermediate age forest accounts for the province's anticipated wood supply deficit. The principal forest management objective is to provide a sustainable multiple-use resource with harvest levels that satisfy commercial and domestic requirements, while at the same time adjusting imbalances in age class distribution. To achieve this objective, older forests are harvested selectively, allowing sufficient time for younger trees in silvicultured areas to reach maturity. As well, an effective protection program has reduced volume losses due to fire and disease in the older forest. Silviculture Strategy is focused on forest improvement and reforestation. Pre-commercial thinning removes unwanted trees so that the others have an opportunity to mature faster. Reforestation activity concentrates on site preparation and artificial regeneration of approximately 4,000 hectares annually, utilizing some 8 million tree seedlings. The funds allocated under the Canada-Newfoundland Cooperation Agreement for forestry development will be allocated among 4 programs. The largest portion of funding, in excess of $50 million, is allocated to forest resource management. A program has been implemented to ensure the regeneration of the areas damaged by fire and insects, with emphasis on thinning as a means of accelerating long-term growth. Existing databases will be expanded to assist forestry professionals in mapping and identifying appropriate land uses. In some areas of Newfoundland, private woodlots make timber available for personal use and for small-scale commercial purposes. In other areas, the emphasis is on increasing the availability of timber to supplement industrial needs. Woodlot management is also applied to commercial and demonstration forestry and research and development projects on federal lands. The broad objective of this program is to demonstrate to woodlot owners the social and economic benefits of good forest management. Gander International Airport and the Conn River Indian Reserve are 2 sites being developed under the federal lands program. The Thomas Howe Demonstration Forest, the larger of the 2, occupies Transport Canada property surrounding Gander International Airport and will act as an educational model for modern integrated resource management practices and research. The second program under the cooperation agreement addresses applied research and development and technology transfer. The Provincial Silviculture Program focuses research and development on solutions to the severe problems caused by insects and tree diseases. Funding has been provided to develop a general forest policy and shared forest sector databases. A relatively new area of R&D, integrated resource management deals with the forest environment through a holistic approach, with emphasis on the flora and fauna in the thinned areas and the net economic benefits of moose in the province's forests. The enhancement of existing technology and the introduction of new technologies are key to the survival of a sustainable forest sector. To achieve this end, new site preparation equipment is being tested to ascertain its potential in silviculture applications. Remote sensing technology has been developed to classify forest pests. As well, new technology has been introduced to support forest fire suppression, prescribed burning, and other specific applications related to land use, wildlife, historic resources, and distinctive forest features. The Geographic Information System software developed by the Newfoundland Forest Service and its contractors puts Newfoundland on the cutting edge of GIS innovation. The transfer of technology will also be applied to road location, with a focus on new bridge design. A concentrated effort has been undertaken to enhance the viability of the sawmill industry, utilizing technology transfer and market research through the Newfoundland Lumber Producers Association, whose members account for most of the large commercial sawmill operators in the province. The department will monitor the performance of mechanical harvesting equipment and new processing technology. Integrated resource planning promotes forest management practices that will ensure a long-term supply of commercial and non-commercial timber. This is being achieved through the introduction of an environmental protection plan to regulate forestry activities. Areas of conflicting land uses have been identified and maps generated to define areas available for long-term timber production. The Administration and Evaluation Program is a cost-shared agreement to provide administrative support through Natural Resources Canada and the Newfoundland Forest Service to evaluate the effectiveness, efficiency, and socio-economic impact of the cooperation agreement. A public awareness program developed by the Canadian and Newfoundland Forest Service is being actively supported by the Newfoundland Forest Protection Association and its members. This program delivers information on the activities ongoing under the Canada-Newfoundland Cooperation Agreement for Forestry Development to instill a greater awareness and understanding of the forest ecosystem and the challenges to long-term preservation and utilization of our forest resources through sustainable development.